works. It works.
We turn it off. Thank you. Finally, in the cooling stages. It's amazing. This one.
I told you, we got to do a season this morning.
Yeah.
Hey, Brenda. Diane's been trying to wave at you. You can't see her?
I may be too far over. Oh, she's muted.
Sorry, Diane.
There you are.
I was pulling up my Bible on my phone. I wasn't watching.
It's good to see you.
She talks with her hands, therefore
Yeah.
she had to unmute herself.
Okay, it should cut off here in a minute, Dennis. After it goes through space and bounces off a couple of satellites and comes back down.
Isn't that amazing?
It's just
Yeah.
12 foot from here to
Yeah.
there, but it's traveling 10,000 miles through digital wires to get there. Okay, we are still in chapter 13. And if you'll recall, last week, we heard John describe a beast coming out of the sea, coming to help the dragon, who is Satan, to murder the seed of the nation of Israel. The devil's out for revenge. He lost the war in heaven. He got kicked out, and he's now on the warpath, trying to find all those who are on God's team, who love God, and he wants to end them and make them suffer. So this new beast is on the scene, and the beast is blaspheming God, not only his name, but his dwelling, his temple, his heaven, and everybody that loves him. So he's blaspheming everything he can about God. And I have in my life seen the evolution of blasphemy that today is so repulsive to me. It gives me cold chills every time I hear a newscaster, a movie actor, a news anchor. I mean, you could hear it all the time. People using God's name in vain, like as if it's nothing. It's just another cuss word. It's not. It's blasphemy.
Yeah.
The world is blaspheming God's name, and they're doing it by using Jesus's name and God's name everywhere in the public square. You didn't do that in the 1950s. Somebody would send you out of the room. Somebody would take you down and give you a spanking if you were young enough. But anyway, so this Antichrist beast is the cheerleader of the Blaspheme God Club. And we see, as the Antichrist spirit in the world, we see that today, and it's increasing. The beast was also permitted to wage war against the saints and to, in the words of John, conquer them. This is not a good time for Christians. Some would argue Christians have already been raptured. So the only Christians we're talking about is the 144,000 that are there working to save more people before the time is run out. Some people believe that we'll all still be there. We are meaning the church, the saints. That's up for debate. But I believe that most of the saints will be gone at that time. It'll just be the new saints or the people who are being saved. We talked last week about this Antichrist spirit. There are many Antichrists. I think we have more than one Antichrist in the world today. I think anybody that actively worships Satan, and that's so, it sounds so weird to think that there are people who would actually pit Satan to worship and do so in satanic churches, in satanic ceremonies. And yet there are people who are doing that even today. So we have antichrists that are actively participating in the anti-Christian movement and the anti-Christian system, and they're throughout the world. So that leads us into verse 8. We'll pick it up there. All those who live on the earth will worship it. Everyone whose name was not written from the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who was slaughtered. This is an interesting verse because it has repercussions to other things other than what John is describing here. The main point that it's making is that everyone on earth who is not saved, meaning their name is in the book of life, will worship the beast, the Antichrist. In other words, we're past the point you can be an atheist. Oh, I just don't believe in any of that stuff. God, devil, none of it's true. At this time, you only have two choices. You're either a saint and you're going to be persecuted by this beast, or you're going to worship him. You're going to kneel down, you're going to submit to and worship him. This written from the foundation of the world in the book of life. Think about that. I was, my little grandson and I out at the playground swinging this last week. We were talking about something else, but anyway, he said, yeah, and God made me because he wanted me to be here in this world. And I said, yeah, when did God make you? He said, he made me in my mommy's tummy. I said, well, that's true, but he also made you in his plan before he even made the world. You were already in God's mind when before he made Adam, he knew there was going to be an Ezra this many years later, and he planned it out. So you were always going to be here in God's mind from the foundation of the world. And people get confused about the garden. You know, Adam, Eve, they ate the apple. My goodness, God was disappointed and surprised. No, he wasn't. And God knew exactly what was going to happen because he already has a book that has the names before he made the earth. He already knew who was going to be in heaven, who was going to be in hell, and what every one of us is going to do our entire lives. And what surprises me is he still made me. After he saw, oh, this guy, yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and make him anyway. So this one verse gives us a whole lot of insight as to God's plan and when and how he chose to make us. In Exodus 32:32, it reads, now, if you would only forgive their sin, but if not, please erase me from the book you have written. This is Moses when he's bringing the tablets back down from the mountain. And hey guys, here, I got God. Wait a minute, what are y'all doing? They're worshiping a golden calf that they made, which God got very angry and decided he was just going to kill them all. And Moses is saying, wait a minute, come on, please, if you can, forgive them. And in fact, you can take me out of the book of life. I'm willing to spend eternity in hell to save these people's lives. And God granted him that. I don't think he took his name out of it. But the point is that, again, this book, we're all in the book. Hopefully every one of us, because we claim to be saints. So hopefully we're all in that book.
No unlisted numbers. No unlisted numbers in his book.
Yeah. Okay, verse 9. If anyone has ears to hear, let him listen. If anyone is to be taken captive, into captivity he goes. If anyone is to be killed with a sword he will be killed. This calls for endurance and faithfulness from the saints. Again, this tells us that the saints who are alive at this time are going to have a very difficult time. They're not going to find much comfort. It's going to require endurance and faithfulness on their part. They're going to be persecuted. They're going to be murdered. They're going to be tracked and tortured. But the people who are doing it, they're all going to pay their just. They're going to get their just deserts. Those who take the Christians captive are going to be captives in hell for eternity. Those who kill Christians with a sword are going to be killed with a sword. It's a time of trouble. If anyone has ears to hear, that's listen up, people. This is serious business. Hear what I'm saying and heed it, understand it. We're at the final dividing line. No more sitting on the fence. You're either with God or you're with Satan. Okay, verse 11. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. And we have another beast. We have a trinity. We have the dragon, Satan. We have the Antichrist. And now we have another beast who we will find out later is referred to as the false prophet. But it comes from the earth, not from the sea, not from the abyss. It comes out of the earth. Think of that as out of the world. Some speculate that it's going to be a leader of a religious organization, the Church of Satan. Some people speculate it's the Pope at the time. Different people have different concepts of who this false prophet is going to be, but he is going to have a big impact. And he comes on the scene with the appearance of a lamb.
Like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Exactly. You know the verse.
Go know the verse.
Yeah, I've got it. But you already know what I'm going to say. But he speaks with power and authority of the dragon. So he may look like a sheep, a lamb, but he doesn't sound like one. He sounds like a wolf. In Matthew 7:15, Jesus's words, "Be on your guard against false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravaging wolves." So this lamb looks like a meek lamb, but it is going to have power and authority as a dragon. Verse 12, it exercises all the authority of the first beast on its behalf and compels the earth and those who live on it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed. So these two beasts are working together as Satan's visible representatives here on earth. And they are this new false prophet who's going to be some kind of priest, some kind of religious symbol is saying, worship this other beast. Look, and the scar on his head indicates that he's a miracle man. He's been resurrected from the dead. In other words, this whole Trinity is a knockoff, a cheap imitation of God and Jesus and the Holy Ghost. They're trying to say, we have the same power that God that you used to worship has. You should be worshiping us and following ours. Verse 13, It also performs great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to earth in front of people. It deceives those who live on the earth because of the signs that it is permitted to perform in the presence of the beast, telling those who live on the earth to make an image of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. This false prophet not only is a cheerleader for the Antichrist, but he also has what appears to be supernatural powers. We know that Satan was given authority over the earth. We know that he is a supernatural creature, meaning he's a spirit form. And it tells us here that this false prophet has received power to do these miracles. In fact, if you think back, we talked about the two witnesses, and that was one of the things that they used to show that they were appointed by God to be his messengers, his prophets here on earth, is they had the power to bring down fire. And so now the devil is imitating that. He gives a false prophet who can do the same trick. If you think of back in Egypt, the Pharaoh, as Moses would do what God told him to do and amaze people, then the sorcerers, the magicians of Pharaoh would make imitation tricks, not as good, not as powerful, not as provable, because Moses actually used God's power, and they used either Satan's power or simple trickery. But this beast is able to do great signs. He's able to bring down fire from heaven to establish the fact that he's someone who actually has power. In Matthew 24:24, again, we're warned, for false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. That's why we're warned that we need to have God's word. We need to be able to have a standard to base everything on. When we hear a message from a pulpit, when we hear a teacher talk about the Bible, if we don't know the Bible well enough to identify somebody that's speaking falsely, then we're at risk. And I don't know, don't trust me. I beg you, don't trust me. Listen to what I say and then look and see if it's right according to the word, because I can make my best attempts to never make a mistake, but I'm going to, because I'm flawed like everybody else. 2 Thessalonians 2:9. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders. So, because we still have, not as many as there used to be, but we still have these miracle workers on TV who have a long string of people who are walking up wanting to be cured, wanting to be fixed, and we have people that is there miracles? I believe they are. Yeah. Do they happen? And if we're faithful in prayer to asking God for things, does he sometimes grant it if it's in our best interest? I believe so. But I don't think that he empowers a person to get up on a stage and cure people after people after people after people. I don't think it works that way anymore. So am I authorized to call them false prophets? No, but I seriously question whether they are or not. Okay, the this false prophet is going to have a idol built, created. It's going to talk the people into idolizing this Antichrist by making a statue or an image or a symbol of him. The Nebuchadnezzar made that tall tower and ordered everybody to kneel down and worship it. And if they didn't, they would be killed, thrown into an oven of fire. Shadrach, Meshach, and the Abednego walked through the fire with no injuries. But the point is that, this is not unusual for Satan to work through human beings to do this kind of thing. And so now I'm kind of thinking like the Wizard of Oz. I asked my grandsons the other day, how long has it been since you saw the Wizard of Oz? What? The Wizard of what? They've never even seen it. So I guess that's something that's fallen off the list of what kids watch nowadays.
Harry Potter now.
Huh?
Harry Potter.
Yeah. So now, the Wizard of Oz was the little grunt guy that behind the stage and had a great big huge presence because of. So anyway, the false prophet is going to make some sort of image of the Antichrist and require people to worship it. Verse 15. It was permitted to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast could both speak and cause whoever would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So we were told earlier that those who were saved, saints, would not worship the Antichrist. And we're told here that whoever doesn't is going to be killed. So that leads one to believe that whatever saints there are at this time are going to be killed. I don't believe that refers to the 144,000 because they were sealed by God, and it said at the time that they were sealed that they would not be killed, that they could not be killed. But all the rest of the saints will be. In 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 11 and 12, it says, "For this reason God sends them a strong delusion, so that they will believe the lie, so that all will be condemned, those who did not believe the truth, but delighted in unrighteousness." These symbols, these signs, these apparent, supernatural capabilities of these two, the Antichrist and the false prophet, there's going to be an awful lot of people. And if we saw somebody on TV resurrected from dead back to life by someone who claimed to have the power to do that, it would be tempting to say, well, I saw it with my own eyes. It must be true. So he must be working for God. No. Satan is going to give people power to do those kinds of things, and probably does in the world today. So be careful. Verse 16. And it makes everyone small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark, the beast's name or the number of its name. There's been movies, there's been books, there's been all kinds of things showing different types of marks. In this world today, the way we live, it's hard not to see it. I mean, this not only is possible, it's happening right now. And we don't recognize it, but in the United States, we now have babies, when they're born, we get social security numbers for them. Everybody in the United States has a social security number. That social security number is in a big computer. And that determines, you know, if you want to get a job, you have to have that social security number. If you want to open a bank account, you have to have a social security number. Even babies' bank accounts for savings for college has to have a social security number. I'm not saying that the social security number is the mark of the beast, but it's an example of a number that no one can live or operate on here in the United States without it. You can't make investments, you can't have cash checks, you can't get a credit card, you can't do anything without a social security number. So is that a mark of the beast? I don't know, but it is a mark that everybody's required to have, where you can't buy, sell, work, or anything else. You know, now we're getting I don't have it yet, don't think I'll ever do it, but now you can have all your money and banking on your phone, and if you want to pay for something, you just click it. You don't even have to type a number or anything, because your phone can communicate your account number, your code to the cash register, and they can get their money.
You know, there is a difference, even though you're talking about the United States, but there are people that come in this country that don't have that social security number. But you know how they're getting that social security number? They're stealing it from somebody.
Yeah.
To come into the state. I think that's, you know, they buy them at certain places. I don't know where, but you know.
Cuba, I was talking to a Cuban pastor, and he said they've gone to a card, and all the money you have has on that card. The first thing the government does is take 50% of that money out. But you can buy anything without that card. And that's now, right now.
That's a new digital currency.
Yeah.
And the more authoritarian countries have already gone to it.
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve of the United States has produced a discussion paper and sent it to all the central bank and all the banks in the United States, discussing the pros and cons of a central bank digital currency. This happened in January of 2020. So they're already working on the digital currency for the United States. President Biden signed in March of this year a 180-day executive order for all federal agencies to study and develop a plan to move to a digital currency. I believe it's going to happen before Biden leaves the White House. And it will be it will allow the government to track everything down to, if I want to sell you my used bicycle, the money that you pay me for that bicycle will have to circle through the digital currency system of the United States. In other words, the IRS will know that you sold a bicycle and will charge you tax on that income. And the person who bought the bicycle, it will know they bought it, and it will charge them the sales tax for the city that you're in for every transaction from person to person, because there will be no more paper money. That, again, is that the mark of the beast? It certainly is going to squeeze down the people who will have to barter with, I don't know, wheat, bread.
You know, they've been talking about this for over 20 years now, you know, and I remember talking about it back in the 2000, like early 2000s, and, you know, you couldn't see it then, but it's right now, it's been at least 20 years since I've heard that. You're
Yeah, but
starting to see it
The,
more and more and more.
yeah, the difference is 20 years ago, they didn't have the capability of doing it.
They got the phone.
Today, they have the technology and the capability. It amazes me. I can buy something online on Amazon and click, order this on Amazon,
Mhm.
and my phone will beep because it'll say, somebody used your credit card to buy something on Amazon. Did you want to, is this authorized or not?
Mhm.
So I'm on the computer ordering something from Amazon, and within a second, it's notifying me that somebody ordered something on Amazon with my credit card. It's just, the technology now is amazing. And
It's working for both sides. It's working for the devil and it's working for the God side, because it's pushing the Bible out everywhere. And then, the devil's using that side just to push down.
exactly.
It's working for both sides.
Yep. Okay. 18. This calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, because it is the number of a person. Its number is 666. This tells us a few things. What it doesn't tell us is who 666 is. I've read so many different attempts to, this has got to be Hitler. This has got to be Mussolini. This has got to be Nero. This has got to be Domitian. This has got to be, and there everybody has their own little, okay, well, if you change this letter to a 1 and this, that they all think they've got the solution, but I don't think any of them has the solution. The thing this does tell us is that this is going to be a human being. It's a person. It's not, there's an antichrist spirit in the world, active, working, many people working on its behalf, just like there's many Christians working on God's behalf. But there will be a main 666 person as a human being, and they will be alive, and they will have a name which is known worldwide. It's going to be someone who is famous, not someone who is just unknown. It's going to be someone who everybody recognizes the name of. Putin, who doesn't know that name? Biden, who doesn't know that name? Xi, I don't know, ruler of China, Xi something, whatever his name is, most people know it. But it's going to be someone like that. It's going to be someone of renowned reputation. And I believe based on that, I don't think the person is in the world yet today. So I don't believe that we have started the 7-year tribulation period. But that's just my personal opinion. Some people think it's already happened. It makes it more difficult for me to believe that these things have already been fulfilled, because it hasn't been recorded in history that it has. So, but anyway, we'll hold it there and pick up chapter 14 next week. See you guys next
Okay,
week.
bye. Have a good week, everyone.
All right,
Okay.
you too.
Bye-bye.
Resort.